Grandpa Cotton, what's going on today, y'all? Hey, I tell you what, it's cold out here today. I got the shop heater on today. And yeah, my shop's messy, so this is a workshop. Y'all know here on Grandpa Cotton's Facebook page and YouTube channel, we do a little bit of everything. We do repair work, fishing, hey, we do it all. So I'm subject to work on anything or say anything. But today I want to talk to y'all about my little boat motor. I went crappie fishing the other day, and there's a reason I'm telling y'all this, because I could save y'all thousands of dollars on repairs. I went crappie fishing the other day, and on the way back in, my motor, this Yamaha, just died on me. Well, I got it cranked back up, but it wouldn't take full throttle. It only take just a little bit of throttle, so we come in about 7 or 8 miles at about 7 miles an hour. So it got us in. With that being said, the fuel was fine, didn't have no trash in the fuel filters or anything on it. So I just want to throw this out there to y'all. This ain't what this video is about. I got off subject again, but when I got it back to the boat ramp, let it sit for a minute, cranked it up, she run fine. She took off running like she's supposed to. Well, to save y'all thousands of dollars on boat motors repairs from a repair shop, I changed the spark plugs and I changed the coil. Now, this cost me about $35. Motor runs perfect. I ain't had no more problem out of it. But anyhow, that being said, today we changing the water pump on it. This motor's a 2012. Still a good motor, still pumping water. But I know those old streams getting a little bit weak. So we're gonna show y'all how to change the impeller out and the water pump. Now, if you take this thing to the shop, it costs you about $500 for them to do this. The little impeller only cost me $6.45, and I'm gonna do it myself, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is. You're gonna need 2 wrenches. You're gonna need two 10 millimeter wrenches, box ends, and you're gonna need a 12 millimeter socket. Now, I'm using the baby ratchet because when you get down here close to take them 4 bolts out of the bottom, you don't want to scratch your motor up with a big ratchet. Don't use any air tools on this thing. You ain't got to do that. First thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure this thing's in reverse. You might have to turn your prop down here a little bit to get it to go in. We want it locked in reverse. That way I'm old and I don't forget to do it when I go to take the linkage loose. So anyhow, let's hit and miss on the video. I'll show y'all what we got going on. Stand by to stand by. Alright, I got my old trusty dog Raven here with me. That's my service dog. She's always with me. Good to have a good dog, y'all. Alright, I got most of these bolts out. These here are size 12 right here. There's 4 bolts. 2 up front, 2 in the back. It's the only 2 you gotta take out, okay? What we gotta do now is we gotta take this plastic cover plate off right here. And it's got 4 bolts in it, holds it in. We're gonna take that off. And hey, I'll show you what's under there. Alright, the bottom bolt on this thing, it has a ground wire attached to it. Ground cable. You want to be sure that your ground cable goes back on there whenever you get ready to put it back in. But we're just taking bolts off right now. You're going to have some outboard motor people that's probably going to tell me that this ain't the way to do this. But I've been doing them for years. I always work on my own motors, and what they're wanting is they're wanting your money. They want you to come into your shop where they can double charge you everything. But anyhow, let me get this last bolt out and I'll be right back with you. Alright, we got the bolts off. We're going to kind of wiggle this plate around. I might have to get me a screwdriver. Y'all hold on a minute. Alright, y'all get ready to get these off. You gotta be careful because they got rubbers in them, so we're gonna try to get this one off. There it goes. Sometimes you have to get a screwdriver. Put them rubbers. I'll make sure they all stay in there like they're supposed to. And this side over here, you just kind of gonna have to wiggle it off too. They got a little rubber right here in the middle of that. I mean, all this does is stabilize your boat motor. Sometimes it get a little hard to get off of there. That's it, I gotta get a rubber hammer. Alright, we got it off. I had to do a little picking on it, but it come off of there. This little rubber. Be sure you put your your plate's opposite side of your motor. Well, you know what side. Now, if you look, the old motor's just barely holding on up in there. It's holding on right there on that rubber. This right here, y'all see that? Let me zoom y'all in a little bit. Let's see. Get you over here a little closer. Okay, what you want to do, you want to reach up here and get this little bottom nut right here. A bottom nut on it. Get your big nut. And just give it a little turn. Now, just turn this bottom nut just a couple times like that. Just enough to get it a little loose, okay? Because you don't want this to be out of sync, because then your reverse and all will be bad. But we just take them and we just unscrew it. Sometimes you can do it with your hand. Sometimes you need a little help with a wrench. This is a 10 millimeter. You just unscrew it up and just keep screwing it, and it will come off of that nut just like that right there. See, it just come off of there. See, we're gonna just go on up a little bit higher with it. We're gonna get to put it back on. You see that how it just comes loose? All right, I'm gonna take this last bolt out, and then we're gonna get the foot off. Sometimes when you get these bolts out, you go to take them loose, they start getting tight. Just crank them back up like you're going to tighten it back up a little bit, then come back down with it. A lot of times it's got Loctite in there on them. Sometimes they use old pipe looking dope stuff on them. But if you do that, you won't have no problem, okay? Then they just come on off. Now, mechanics will tell you there's a certain torque that you're supposed to torque all this back down is. Look here, all I do is tighten them up. Been doing it for years, ain't never had one fell off yet. I know you Loctite boys out there that love to put Loctite on everything. So man, you gotta put Loctite on them. Well, you ain't gotta put Loctite on them. That's why you got a compression washer on there to hold them, keep them from backing off. But all boat motors are the same. They might come apart just a little bit different, but they're all the same. And it's all the same on how to change the impeller out on them. A lot of people say give them a little whack. I like just kind of work them loose a little bit like this. I don't like giving them no whack unless you have to. Just work it loose. Got to get out of that gear in there, and it will eventually. We working on it, y'all. Just give me a minute. All right, there it goes right there. Now, that little screw right there to go through that rubber. See that, like that? It goes straight on through that little rubber. And there. And it'll come on out there in just a minute. Y'all hold tight. I gotta have two hands. Alright, I ain't never had one do this before. Usually they just come through that little bracket there. But this one didn't do it. So, that little rubber, you have to take the nut completely off the shifting rod right there in order to get it to come off. But it's off of there. Let me get it off and put it on the table. Alright. Look here, I got it just sitting up here on the boat. I like to take a little emery cloth and clean this shaft up. A lot of people don't do that, but I do it because it makes it easier to get the impeller all off and back down. Just put your emery cloth on there, get your motor and all there set up real good. Just clean it off real good because it gets rust and debris on it. That's the exhaust. So I like to just clean it up. Like I say, you ain't got to be perfect with it, but just clean all that old rust and all off of there. It makes it a whole lot easier to get it all back up and down on there. Once I clean it up like that, I'll take and I'll spray some WD on it. WD it up real good. Now some people say you gotta change this housing. The only time you have to change this housing if it's all tore up in there. Most of the time they're fine, won't have any problem. So we finna get it off of there. Alright, all you gotta do here is take your 12 millimeter wrench, just break them loose. They usually ain't very tight. Like that there. Like I say, don't use no drills, nothing on this. I mean, you might could use a drill to take these out, but best to do it by hand. Cause if you break one of these off, you're in trouble. It's over with. It's all done if you break one of them off right there. All right, we got the boats out. Now remember, when you're taking them out, there's gonna be a little plate that holds them together. That keeps you from busting this plastic housing, and also makes it evenly tightened. Basically what it amounts to is a lot of them have 6 bolts. Instead, Taekwondo's kind of shortchanged a little bit. Now a lot of times you just wiggle this gently. See there, and they come right out there like that. Now I want you to look at this. That's pretty and clean in there. It's not wore. There was a piece of rubber just fell out of it. It's not wore or anything, see? Good and clean. So you don't have to buy that kit. You don't have to replace that. Alright, here's the impeller. Sometimes they can be a little tricky. Mine has got a couple of lubes off from it. Actually, the old impeller ain't in too bad a shape. Just take a screwdriver, kind of get under it like this, and give it a little push. Watch out for your keyway. Some boat motors are keyway come out. Some won't. See how easy that makes that come off of that shaft now? Since I cleaned it. Well, there's my impeller. And it is damaged quite a bit. Got some lugs off from it, but in all it ain't too bad. But I'm gonna tell you something, I don't think they sent me the right one here. They may have. No. That's a long way from being the freaking one that I ordered. And see, this is the problem with ordering stuff. This is supposed to be for a 15 horsepower boat motor. Okay? Supposed to be for Honda. 2-stroke, 4-stroke, whatever you want to call it. Now what's caused now, I got to go to the Yamaha dealer and buy another. Does that look like the same freaking thing to y'all? I ain't even nowhere close. So, I guess we're going to put this video on pause and run over there to the Yamaha dealer in town. See if I can't find the impeller. Alright everybody, we got the right impeller. I went over to Trotter Marine there in Satsuma. They deal with Mercury, Yamaha, Suzuki. They got all the parts you need over there. I like to take a little bit of, I use this vitamin, just something environmental friendly. I mean, you don't have to do that. But I do grease mine up just a little bit, and I want something that's going to come out there and not stay real oily. So all I'm doing here is using some hand lotion, which will come right out with the, you know, when it cranks up with the water. It won't stay in there, but everything looks good. So just put a little bit of grease here on the shaft, and all you have to do is take your new impeller. There's no certain way to put it in. You do have a little notch in it that adds up with it lines up with the keyway. So just slide it down, line your keyway up, push it down, and it is there. I mean, it's where it's supposed to be right now. See how easy that was? And then you take your, it's got dial pins on this, so you can't really screw up when you put it on. Just drop it on there like that. When you get it on there, give it a little twist. Sometimes you have to twist it around a little bit. See, it'll fall right on there just like that. There again, you put your brackets back in there the way they go, and your bolts. You don't have to put Loctite on. I know a lot of y'all out there wonder about that, but Loctite is not necessary on everything. We used to use paint. You don't have Loctite, you're putting a bolt in that you don't want to come out. Just take your little bit of paint and paint the threads on it and stick it in there. It won't ever come out. That's all Loctite is, a little paint, basically. I mean, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's what we used to use. All right, let me get these here snugged down, tightened up, and we'll get back on this little operation. Alright, I got that back in. And all you really have to do is just hand tighten it. I mean, you gotta do a little more than hand tighten it. I mean, I'm sure there's special torque and all that you're supposed to put on it, but all I'm doing is putting them bear claws on it. That's all you have to do with it. And it's ready right now to go back on the engine. But we're going to do a little bit more maintenance on this motor before we put the foot back on to make it easier, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Alright everybody, before I put my foot back on my engine, I'm going to change the oil. Now, you can do it with the foot and all on there, but you have to clean up the bottom of your motor because it don't catch all the stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the oil plug out, drop the motor down, let it drain, and then I'll replace everything, and it'll make it easier for me to just let the motor sit here and drain out. So, we need a 14mm socket, and inside right here by the exhaust port is where the oil plug is. You see it's not real tight, so there's special torques that you're supposed to torque all this down with, but we just tighten it up till it's tight. That's just the way it is. When your motor tilted up like this, the oil won't run out of it. Here's the oil plug. Stick my finger right there and look. There's the little ring. We're going to be sure the little ring stay. You can buy a new one, but these is like an oil plug in your car. They're not going to leak, so we're going to set it over here to the side. And we're going to tilt this motor down right here. I should have did this before I got all that stuff in there. But anyhow, it's going to come down, and we got to hit that latch button, I think, make it come all the way down. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to put this pan under it. Start catching the oil like that, see? Come all the way down with it. And you can let your motor just sit right here and do its thing. You won't get no oil on nothing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the dipstick a little bit. Open the oil plug up. Make sure all the air comes out of it. And we're just going to let it sit for a few minutes. As you can see, it's a whole lot simpler of doing it while your foot's off. And you don't have to change oil every year. I don't. I change it every 2 or 3 years along with the impeller. Just so you don't get stranded. Good maintenance is a good thing to do on your boats. They like a car. Well, this is pretty ugly oil. It's been in there a while, so. Alright, we're going to let that drain out, and I'll get back with y'all in just a few minutes. Okay, we're going to change the oil filter. These oil filters, you can't hardly find. You can buy a wrench at the boat place, but they're about $30. So I use what I've used for my whole life on cars and everything. You just take this thing, put it on there, and squeeze it, and pull on it. Shouldn't be much more than hand tight anyhow. When you put it back in, that's all you want is good and hand tight. So, unscrew your filter. No oil leakage. That's the old filter. And that's how we do that. Alright, I got the oil here. On these particular motors right here, it says you can use SAE 10W30, SAE 10W40, okay? You can also, it says on here, you can use SAE 25W40 if you live in a climate that don't go below 20 degrees. It's recommended for climates ranging 80 to 100 degrees. Okay, so we range in 80 to 100 degrees here where we live at. So I'm using 25W40 engine oil. And I'm going to take my oil filter here. First thing I want to do is get the soda so it's done. Alright, I'm going to take my oil filter. I'm going to go ahead and fill it up. And I'm going to let that oil filter, that oil soak into that filter. You'd be surprised how much oil this little filter right here will soak in. It'll soak in quite a bit of oil. Just kind of roll it around and that paper filter soak all that oil up. So we're gonna let my filter soak up the oil and we'll be back with you in a minute. Alright, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of this new oil in it. It only holds a little more than a quart. I'm gonna put some of this in it. Just shoot some in there. Just a little bit of it. Let it go down into the engine. And then we're gonna pull the drain plug again. The reason I'm doing that is kind of flush out any material or anything like that that may be down inside the engine. A lot of people don't do that, but to me, oil's cheaper than buying a new engine. And that is a fact. Alright, see, she's looking pretty clean there coming out of there now, so that's what we want, see there? Clean oil coming out of that old nasty hole. So let me get the oil in it, we'll get back to the foot. Okay, all we got to do is reverse the process on where we took this motor apart and put it back together. I ain't going to go through all that because I think we're already getting into 20 minutes on the video, which is too long. But it's hard to do a short one and cover all your bases. And now we'll be back in a minute. We'll see if she runs. All right, everybody. Moment of truth on the motor. We got it. We got her. Got the oil change. Got the water pump in. Got the oil filter changed. Got the coil and the plugs changed all in about an hour and a half. So let's see if Popo done a good job. I'm gonna tell you this saves you about $500 from taking it to the mechanic shop, and it cost me roughly $50 in parts and oil. Well, that's it, y'all. She works. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button. If you're looking at them on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Remember, Grandpa Cotton said, take a kid fishing, take a kid hunting. That's what we're supposed to do, and I'm gone.